Alrighty, what's up guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel and video. I'm gonna be doing a YouTube introduction on today's video, so please do make sure to stay tuned in. And if you've already been watching my YouTube videos for quite a while now, I've been uploading videos on YouTube for the last 2 years. For a good 1.5 years, it was basically just me with 2 or 3 views on each video. And basically the first view was basically me making sure the video uploaded well. The second view was make sure the quality was basically rendered well. And the third one is me to just try and see if someone watched the video. But nevertheless, I've been so very blessed to be able to reach up to, I think my highest video view right now is 26,000 views, which is like a video that really did very well. And I'm super proud about that. And also on Instagram, I've been able to get up to thousands of views on my videos there. And I'm just beyond blessed. And with all these blessings, guess what that means? I gotta pump out more value. That's what I personally believe. And I'm gonna be sharing with you on this YouTube introductory video of mine on who I am, where I came from, and where I'm headed. So at the same time, if you've been watching my videos, please make sure to stay tuned in, because this video is the beginning of a new chapter on this whole Entrepreneur Revolt journey. So I'm just get straight to the basics, right? So my name is Steve Aura, and also known as Entrepreneur Revolt. I've been uploading YouTube videos for YouTube for quite a while, like literally in this basement setting, and I really want to be able to move to a different direction. So my videos, mostly, if you noticed, they've only been basically in this setting, and basically from point 1 to point 1 to point 3 or 10 or 100, not number to letters. This ain't algebra. I think that's where we started learning how to do freaking letters in math, but scrap all that. I don't like education system. You'll learn that later. But basically, what I'm trying to do here is do more of a series that's more entertaining and knowledgeable, and then also at the end of the day, more documentary style, more experiential. Hope I pronounced that right. English is also not my favorite thing out there. You can tell I don't like really the standard education system. Okay, I just don't like it. I'm not good at it. So anyway, back to the video here. What we're gonna be doing is basically moving towards that direction. And the whole point of this video here, this whole YouTube introductory video, and at the same time, this whole video about myself, is basically to start from ground zero. And we're gonna try to go from ground zero and catch up all the way until now or recently. And then we're gonna be able to upkeep from the next videos. We're gonna be having 2 series. We're gonna be having the regular vlog live, the regular main vlog we're gonna be doing, the main series itself. It's gonna be more documentary style, but it's gonna be more informational as well in the video based on what I'm experiencing at that moment, that week, that month, in business-wise, or life as well. And then the other one is gonna be called Vlog Interludes. Now that one is gonna be more kind of in-between series. It's still gonna be connecting with what was happening in my life at that time as an entrepreneur, but I'm gonna be going more in depth on different things and different cool, awesome tactics, okay? So let's just get straight into this whole journey about moi. Me, Steve Aura. Now, some of you guys might be like, Steve Aura, that doesn't really sound African or Kenyan, which is where I was born and raised from.
Kenya is located in East Africa, transected in the south by the equator, surrounded by 5 countries, with a decent-sized coast along the largest lake in Africa, Lake Victoria, as well as the Indian Ocean to the east.
To be more specific, from Kisii. Now, A-U-R-A is aura, like your aura, but at the same time, it's aura. Aura, like hurrah. That's how it's pronounced specifically. So if you come from that side of the country, then you pronounce it like that. Or when I go back home, that's how it's pronounced. But also at the same time, it's Steve Aura Nyachae. Okay, that's my full name right there. Now, funny little story on the side note here. Nyachae, as you know, it's chai. It's tea.
It's like the taste matures. Then come pour it in your thermos flask. Again, in Kenya, we like our tea piping hot.
So when I was growing up as a little kid, a lot of my friends used to call me tea or chai because my name was Nyachae. So they was like, hey Steve, you got a cup of tea because you're Nyachae? Ha ha ha. Very funny. Anyway, it's cool. It's just teasing and jokes right there. I have no emotional strain up. I don't see a therapist about being called tea. I do drink a lot of tea though. I love tea. Side note, anyways, get back to the video here. So I was born and raised from Kisii in Nyamagesa, which is where I come from. And my mom and my dad comes from Nyamagesa, and my mom comes from Ivacho. Those are the 2 different parts in Kisii they came from. And I grew up there for a while, and I still do speak Kisii, and I speak Swahili, and I speak English. Now, bear with me here, my Swahili is not the best. I do get a lot of people from Tanzania who DM me with like super straight clean Swahili, and I reply back like, no. So I try my best to speak Swahili here and there. Hey, Jumbo, And I mix it up sometimes with Kisi because I was almost about to say Nakibono, which means how are you doing, instead of saying it in Swahili, which is...
A few moments later.
Whoa, okay, wait. Like, I can speak Swahili, but you gotta, like, speak it back to me. I don't know what to say. Like, you know, someone says, like, you know, like, oh my goodness, this is the worst time for me. Wow, this is embarrassing.
A few inches later.
I don't want to Google it. I know what it is. Just give me a second to think here.
2 hours later. 1 eternity later.
Jambo, mzuri sana. Nyaje mnafanya leo. Mko poa? Sawa, hiyo ni mzuri sana. You see, I can do it. Please do not destroy me in the comment section. I can speak Swahili. It's just that sometimes it does run away from me. Now, the reason why for this is when I was growing up, I grew up in a British system, which some of you guys know in Africa, it's basically we have like local, like Kenyan system, or it might be Nigerian system, like education system. And then there's the British system, which is more based on the UK curriculum. Now, when I was going to the schools, we didn't really do Swahili as a primary. It wasn't really focused on as much. So I ended up really focusing on other languages, but I did speak Swahili fluently when I was a little kid, and I also did speak Kisi fluently very well. Now, I still do speak Kisi and I still do speak Swahili. It's just that I have to be in a certain environment for that language. It's like an instinct. Like I hear somebody speak Swahili to me and I come back with Swahili. That's why you saw me take a little bit of a second there trying to get back to myself. So as you can tell then is that I did not end up staying in Kenya. I ended up coming to the United States when I was about the age of 10. 10, okay? So if you're looking at the camera the other way, 10. So basically what ended up happening was this, right? I don't want to go jump into that part yet, but when I was a little kid, this is how I ended up discovering about entrepreneurship. So me and my friend, Okango, matter of fact, I actually have a video clip that's going to basically explain this whole section, so I'm just going to pop it up. One of my uncles was, there was tea that he had, and he wasn't using it anymore. So we took that tea and we went and sold it at another kiosk. So I feel like the whole entrepreneurship thing has been with me for more than I can remember myself.
So you went and used the tea of your uncle to sell and make money?
He wasn't using it anymore, so we saw, let's go to a kiosk and sell it at wholesale price. For us, it's all profit. Okay, guys, so you basically just saw the video there about basically how I ended up discovering that I was an entrepreneur, or basically my first kind of experience as an entrepreneur. So from a little kid, I always was this kind of entrepreneur spirit person, but I never knew that I liked business or I liked entrepreneurship or even really knew that what an entrepreneur meant. I didn't learn what an entrepreneur was until I was about the age of 15, 16. So we'll talk about that later when we get to that chapter in my life. So now, when I moved to the United States, I first of all started tingling in different things. Now, the first big thing that I struggled with was school, right? So if you really think about it, I'm coming from Kenya. I have this very thick accent, and the people who live here also do not think that they have an accent. So they think I only have an accent and they don't have an accent. Trust me, when you talk to another person who's in your country, you can't really tell they have an accent, right? But if you go to somewhere else, another part of the country sometimes even, or to another part of the world, you can tell accents very differently very well. So it's the same thing here. Like, I was basically struggling in school. Not like I was going to excel in school, even if I could speak fluently in their accent, because trust me, here's a little background story. When I was in Kenya, and I believe I was like in age 8 or something like that, at most like age 7, okay? And so basically we should have this spelling bees in class, like where they ask you like, hey, could you write down or could you spell like, I don't know, horse? And it was like basically these two words, horse and house. So they were both on the exam, right? And they should say, write down horse. So when she said horse, I believe it was a he. Yes, it was a he. He said horse. I ended up basically writing down house. And then when the teacher said house, I wrote down horse. Now, trust me, I understand the difference between a house and a horse. It's just that basically my brain could not really process things in a certain way. So I really ended up struggling in school for basically my whole life, all the way up until freshman year, when I learned how to play the game a little bit better. But before we even get there, basically from a young age, I ended up realizing I was not good at school. I was not good at reading, math, science, basically just about anything school related, but I was able to excel in other different areas. And that's kind of the example of the entrepreneur spark that I just showed you when I was young. Now fast forward later, when I came to the United States, catching up with the story of me struggling with accents, I still ended up struggling in school. Now I should have failed elementary basically, but they don't hold students back Thank you. I would have probably repeated elementary multiple times over because I basically ended up graduating with F's and D's and C's. My best grades were probably C minuses. I ended up getting an A in math. I ended up getting an A also in music. I think I got a B minus in music because it's basically singing. Like nothing else that you really need to do. It's not that difficult, just mouth stuff. So I was able to pass that. So now from that age, I started experimenting with different things. The first thing I wanted to be was a comedian. Yes, sir. I wanted to be a comedian because I used to watch Mr. Bean all the time. And I was like, dude, that is the career choice I want to take. So from a young age, I did try to pursue that. Not fully, but that's what I wanted to be when I grew up. Now, later on, I started like getting into this whole more Eastern culture, and I started watching breakdancing videos. So for a little bit of a while, I started trying to learn how to like breakdance. I don't really think I can do the moves like anymore. I tried, because when I was young, like there's this move where you gotta like hold your hands like some position like that, and I tried to put a video up of what it is, and I was able to do it just a little bit, but I ended up not pursuing breakdancing. Now this is the part of the meat of the story. So when I was about basically fast forwarding to about the age of 10 and a half, somewhere around there, around 11 years old, somewhere around there towards 13 years old, I started learning how to hack. Now, heads up, FBI, if you're watching this, I was a minor, and also I was not hacking in the sense of trying to steal people's information or trying to cause people trouble. It was video game hacking, and I remember this story vividly very well because it was so pivotal in my life. So me and my friend Moffat were playing a game called Combat Arms. Pop the video up somewhere here. And when we were playing this game of Combat Arms, I saw somebody in a game flying. It was like elevated. I was like, ooh. And I was like in the game chat, so we didn't have like microphones like on that game at that time. At least I didn't own one. And I was on the game chat like, dude, bro, how are you flying? And he was like, I'm getting hacks. And I was like, bro, where did you get the hacks from? He was like, oh, I got it from mpgh.net. So MPG is basically like I forgot what it was, the whole name title it was, but I'm not gonna promote it. I'm not. And also another site that I ended up learning about was gamekiller.com or .net. I'm not sure if it's still there or it's been taken down. But basically, I ended up learning how to do video game hacking. And basically, I went on the website, and most people just think about going to get the hacks. But from a young age, like I always wanted to know how something was working. Like, what happened to make that thing work? So that's how I started learning how to teach myself how to program from a very young age, okay? Now, this would end up happening for a while. From during that span of like basically around the age of 10 to around 14, I ended up starting learning how to learn how to program and hack. Now most of the programming and hacking was happening on a language called C++. Because it's the best one for reverse engineering. And when it comes to reverse engineering, what we were able to basically do is we take the game engine that video game is running on, we go inside, learn about all the different maneuvers, and we end up trying to reverse engineer the game to be able to create a hack that's able to be injected into the game, and then rejected in the game, be able to control different settings of the game. And that's how hacking works, simply.
So, good old-fashioned hack-off, huh? Great. Perfect. So
that's basically what I was able to do from a young age. Now, bear with me here. You might be like, dude, you said you were horrible at school. What are you doing hacking video games at such a young age? I know, it does not make sense. It never made sense to me. It never made sense to anybody. Matter of fact, I got so sick and tired of trying to explain to people, so I started just going with it. Because I remember just a little bit later, when I was about maybe 15, one of my friends were in the car driving, we're coming from soccer practice, right? And they were like, you know, you should be more like Steve. Like, Steve knows how to do programming at such a young age. And there I am sitting in the car like, because they were telling their kid, right? Like you need to basically get good grades like Steve. And I'm sitting there in the car like, you guys do realize I have a C- in math right now, but bear with me, it's cool. I basically was not doing well in school still. So I was able to learn how to do programming like C++. I didn't even know I was doing mathematics in a complicated way. It's just that the way my brain works, once again, it likes to problem solve things that it's passionate about. Or maybe I should just say that my brain works with it's like I have a dyslexia in learning, but I'm able to excel in different ways, which ended up becoming a gift for me instead of a disability. And I'll talk more about this a little bit more later. Now, so there I am, learning how to program, learning how to hack, and I ended up starting to get a little bit of a spark towards entrepreneurship. Now, the one thing that really gets me my mind blowing from this age, and I mean not from this age, from this moment and forever on, from a very young on age, I knew I was going to do something in Africa.
What you talking about, Willis?
I was very passionate about doing something in Africa, business-wise, entrepreneurship-wise. Now, I didn't learn I was an entrepreneur until the age of 15. Because you see, up to until that point, I always did entrepreneurial stuff. I remember when I was basically about the age of like 12 or something like that, I remember in the house, I basically started a subscription system that was basically, you pay me like $2 a month, yes, $2 a month, a little bit underpriced, but basically, I'll clean your room and clean your area each and every day. So I'll make sure it never gets messy, and all you have to do is pay me a subscription fee every month. Now at that age, I wasn't trying to think of like, oh, this will be a great business idea. It's just something that I saw that was pretty fun. So from there on, I was really starting to get more into business. So my first official company was called Visual Headquarters. Now, Visual Headquarters came from a different mix of different things. So when I came from video game hacking and programming a lot, I was still programming until the age of like 16, 17 intensively. But from that age, I started moving towards learning how to develop video games. And I ended up starting learning from a game engine called CryEngine, baby. Okay, so it's like between CryEngine and what was the other one? Unreal Engine, like those two, right? So CryEngine had marvelous graphics. It had so many different things because it was developed on another video. It was basically based on another video game. I forgot what it was called, but I'll put up a pop-up here if I find it. And basically, the other one was called Unreal Engine. Now, Unreal Engine is like way better personally now, but back then it was really between those two, and I ended up going towards CryEngine, and CryEngine ran on things like C++, C#, and different things like that. Now, I started creating a video game company through Visual Headquarters, right? Or Visual HQ, and it really ended up molding itself into something else, like slowly, and I ended up getting to the point where I started developing websites for other people. Now, not exactly programming the websites, but really more using Wix, and then being able to just basically make a website out of it. Now, as a little kid who's like 15 years old, you're working like maybe 40 hours a week, and you're getting like $50 to $70 making each website. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about Visual Headquarters itself, because we have a lot of catching up to do. And we're already at like 16 minutes here, so let's just speed this on, okay? So speeding on things on, so I did all the Visual Headquarters, and it got to the point where I was able to make like $500 a month on average. Now, before I even get to this level of Visual Headquarters, there's one thing you gotta know. As me making website, it wasn't happening constantly. But when I was a little kid, I really ended up I started falling in love with developing mobile applications as well. So I know this story is kind of like jumping from here, going to there, but trust me, I hope the dots are connecting on what and who I am from a young, early on age. So you already can be able to tell one thing. I am horrible at school. We'll talk a little bit more later about that. I already talked about it so much, but trust me, I'll make more connection later on. But basically, this was the next awesome, beautiful part, where my entrepreneurship mind really started sparking even more. So, when I was young, there's this, what is it called? It's not Harvard, it's not Yale, it is MIT. There's the MIT app that's used to develop mobile applications. And I was basically also around this age of like 15. I remember asking my mom to give me $25 so that I can be able to go and purchase an application access for me to be able to build this application, because you need to have $25, I believe, still maybe on Android for you to be able to upload an application, and iOS is $100 a year. I never went there. So basically, I ended up developing this application called basically spam SMS. Like, it basically spams SMSs towards another person's phone. Like, you can literally send 10 messages per second, which is like ridiculous, right? So I use this online MIT app to develop this mobile application, because I saw someone else was selling it on the mobile app in the app store. I was like, how can I develop that? Now, there's a couple of options I could have done. Either I go program it or go find another way to be able to do it. Now, this is where I started moving from a programmer and towards more of an entrepreneur who tries to use these tools and technology to build businesses. Further or less, I ended up building this application and I ended up selling it for 99 cents on each, okay? Now, before that application ended up getting banned from the app store, Yeah, of course it got banned. It's spamming people's phones. It's kind of like hacking a little bit. So it's a little bit of me moving away from my hacking mindset towards more clean energy. Wait, clean energy? No, towards more of an ethical hacker or whatever you want to call it. I wasn't really doing crazy sketchy stuff, right, on the internet anyway. But wait, anywhere else. On the internet anyway. I was running a drug trade. But basically what was going on at that age was I was moving towards from programmer towards more of an entrepreneurial mindset. And when I started developing this app for 99 cents, it started making $100 a month. I was like, what? Like 60, 70 people bought this application in a month. Like, that's crazy. Now, total at the end, I ended up making close to about $10,000 from this mobile application. Now, here's the thing though, you have to remember, this was like a span of like almost over 2 years. So it wasn't really making that much each and every month, but it was getting a lot of people purchasing it each and every time until it ended up getting banned. Now that ended up getting banned later and ended up basically getting deleted from the App Store. I don't really have access to that account anymore. I'm pretty sure I can go dig it up, but I really don't. It's not there anymore. It's there, but it's really not there because I was using like some rogue username and whatever. I forgot what it was. But back to the story here. So now at a young age, I was like, oh my goodness, I can be able to make money on the internet. But my passion was still towards Africa. So now around this age again, from the age of was around 14 and like somewhere around towards 16, I tried to develop this other company called African Digital Agriculture. This was my first startup. This was my baby that was gonna blossom into becoming a huge multi-billion-dollar company. As you can tell, it did not. But for the sake of the story, that's where my mindset was at. So at this age, there was this competition called Demo Africa. Demo Africa is still there and it's still very huge. And I was like, looking at the competition, I'm like, dude, look at our company, man. We're about to win this competition, bro. It was being hosted in Lagos, Nigeria at that time. And we're about to go to Lagos, Nigeria. And I was looking at the tickets. I was looking at like all the different things we're gonna do in Nigeria. And I really wasn't thinking about the business. Because the business itself did not, I created a good pitch deck. By good, I mean for a person who doesn't really know what business is about, but more of a person who understands what business is about, but is way too passionate about the mission and forgets you got to make money in the business. So basically I was only thinking about the idea, not really about the business. So in the pitch deck, I talked about the vision. I talked about the mission, the technology, algorithms, the AI, how we're going to use AI for agriculture in Africa. Now the beautiful cool part was I actually started programming the application. I started using different things like from Microsoft APK. You know how that, what's that little thing called? The little Connect, the Microsoft Connect, right? So my dad had gotten me a Microsoft Connect with the Xbox, right? And it came with a Connect. And I learned you can be able to use it to program stuff. So I started learning how you can use the images to sense different things. And I created a little bit of a basic application while using the open source, because I was mostly doing open source stuff. I never programmed from scratch ever. I always use open source. And basically I used it to create something where you can be able to move your mouse with your hand, which is pretty cool, right? And later on, I ended up building that and we were basically getting ready for this competition for Demo Africa. Now, of course, we ended up losing and I was so mad. Now, first, I started blaming my other partner. His name was Oliver. He was from the UK. He was like 13 years old, right? And we were like co-founding this company, right? Because he was more of an engineer on the hardware side of things and I was the software guy and I was more the business person, right? And we ended up trying to build this company, ended up not working. Now, I ended up trying to run it again until later on. And I'll talk about this a little bit later. Now we're gonna pop back into another part of the story. So just put that right there, right? In the hanging. So, I know guys, I'm trying to catch up on my life in like a 25-30 minute video here. Bear with me. So what ended up happening next was this, right? So I ended up not working on African digital agriculture for a while. I went back to Visual headquarters and I continued to do consulting. Now the beautiful part of the consulting, I'm gonna just do a Zoom update. Until I was about the age of like 18, 19, I was getting contracts for even up to $10,000, right? To like be able to create someone's website. Now, of course, we're moving from Wix and now I was hiring a team of developers. Now, this is the most beautiful and most awesome thing. For the last 5 years, 6 years now, I've been working with the same developers from India, right? We've developed such a good relationship. His name is Sunil, he's the head manager, and I still work with them with this day. So from a very young age, things that have happened to me, we're still able to build into something else. So African digital agriculture did not take off. Now at the same time, I was working on another company during that phase when I was about 15, 16. It was called Mambo Audio. Mambo Audio was basically meant to be the African music application. I was like, this is about to be big, it's about to be dope, it's about to be the hit. Flash news, it did not happen. But basically, it still ended up getting like close to about 2,000 active monthly users on the website, and ended up basically dying off because I wasn't able to find a way to make it profitable, and also I wasn't really sure what I was doing with the company. Now, this was about the age of 16, right? And towards also the age of 17. Now, this is where things start to connect. Remember how I told you to put the African agriculture thing right here? So later on, I started meeting up with these guys called Kevin Polycap as well. Kevin and Polycap. They were from Power Moves. Now, this is me basically in college now. And I was able to enter college by a skin of hair, okay? Like, such a light chance that I got into college because my grades were not the best. And when we had the standardized examination thing called the ACT, think of it as like your international examination for colleges to be able to... I had to go basically switch my battery there. So anyway, so back to the video, right? So I ended up getting into college by basically a small thread. So what ended up happening was this, right? So my national examination, or the ACT, think about it the same way you might have national examination, which does really determine if you're gonna be able to go to a good college or not. So I ended up, both my sisters, so basically my mom, my dad, and all my two sisters are pretty good when it comes to school, right? Like, they get pretty good grades. And both my sisters were basically like straight A students. So they were able to get into a very prestigious university called the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities, which is like one of the most prestigious universities, right? And they got into that. Now, my parents still told me like, Steve, you should still apply. And I was like, there's no way I'm about to get accepted into this. So basically, I still applied for it. And of course, I got denied. Now, I got denied in the most fashionable way you can get denied. So my ACT score was basically an F, okay? So I ended up basically getting like, what was it, like 17? I think it was like 17 out of like 30, I think the highest is like 37 or something like that. And they told me, now I did make a mistake on applying on one of the most hardest part of the university, which is the engineering program. And that's where I ended up applying to. They told me basically the engineering department, the average ACT score was like over 30. And the grades in the GPA was also well over like an average of like basically a B plus and above. And I was averaging like a C, floating around there, so I didn't really not gonna make the cut. Now, I applied to another university, and I literally poured my heart out on the letter, because they let you like send a letter with your application to basically explain why I should enter the university. And straight up, I told them, look, don't look at my grades. Don't look at my grades. Look at what I've done outside of school. Now, I talked about from a young age, I was able to teach myself programming. I've been working on businesses. I've been working on all these different things. And they were able to get me into college. Yeah. So I was pretty happy and proud about that. Now, when I ended up going into college, now I'm gonna loop back into the African digital agriculture. So Kevin and Polycap were these two other entrepreneurs who I started really connecting more with, and I'm gonna tell you more about them even later and how awesome a relationship we've been able to build as co-entrepreneurs. By the way, they're also from Kenya as well, and they're also basically from Kisii as well, so we rolled together. And basically what ended up happening was we ended up starting a company together, right? I was in freshman year of college, and I started talking with Polycap more, and we ended up starting a company called Agri8. So basically came from African digital agriculture to Agri8, and the logo basically meant for infinity. Now, I'm not gonna talk too much about this part, but we basically ended up working on it for like maybe about 2 years, and we weren't able to really fully build it out. And the one thing I was able to learn from that company was that you need to have one clear leader. Matter of fact, Kevin is the one who ended up really highlighting this, because all of us were trying to like run the company like all equal, and we're running the company with two other individuals as well, right? Clinton and was it Ryan? Oh my goodness, I can't forget his name. Ryan. No, I forgot his name. Oh my goodness. I've not talked to him for like almost like 4 years. And we didn't really talk too much together, but I'll try to remember his name later on. But basically, it was a lot of us trying to run the company and trying to run it almost in different visions. So it ended up not really working. And I learned so much from that experience. Now, by now, you should have seen a trail of dead companies, right? I've talked about so many different companies that never ended up taking off. Now, those are the only ones that I've talked about publicly in this video. For all those companies I've talked to you about, multiply that by at least 5 times over to 10 times. I know, 10 times, because some of them were like kind of like a little test, and some of them times 5 was more of like me trying really hard, and then this other main ones are the ones that I was really going really hard into. So really, if you take all those companies, multiply that by 5 on average, that's how many companies have failed up to until that age of about 18. Now, this age of 18 became very pivotal for me, right? I'm here freshman year in college, and I'm not liking the education system. I told you, I wasn't good at that stuff, so I never really was able to click well in the university setting. Now, in the first part of my freshman year, I ended up really getting into not the right scene and not the right mindset. I was still very passionate about trying to build this big business and all these big companies, but my behavior and the way I was acting was not the way I should be acting. Now, I'm not here trying to bash anyone who likes to go into parties or like doing all those different things, but personally for me, that's not what I should have been doing. I was basically starting to enter into that scene in my life. Now, I'm also very religious as far as me being a Christian, and I'm very much open to talk about it in my videos. I really don't talk too much about it, but basically all my principles in life do come from my personal relationship with God and Christianity. Now, this is the reason what I'm talking about in this part of this particular video here in this section is when I was 18 years old, I was struggling a lot. I was actually very depressed at that age because I'm very much struggling in school, and I'm not really liking school, and I'm also struggling with this whole identity of who I want to become. So there were so many different things going on. And really for me, I remember I was like in college, and I was like just basically, you know, I had a Bible with me. It's like a small Bible, right? One of those like small mini Bible, like, not the super mini ones, but like one of those like small ones. And I was basically sitting there, and I ended up just flipping the chapter, and it went to a chapter. I can't quite remember the verse, but I do remember it vividly because I remember talking to my sister Sarah about it, and basically texting her about it. And basically the chapter said, you should not try to please other people, but instead please God. And if you please God, then the people who are good-hearted, you'll also please them as well, and they'll see the fruits of your labor as well. And that was such a mind-opening chapter for me, or verse, because at that point in my age in my life, I felt like I was trying to pursue college because that's what society wants me to do. And I feel like I was also trying to fit in with the culture of partying because also that's what society wanted me to do. I was trying to do so many different things that were never going to really move me in a good way. So I made the leap. The first part was basically me saying I wanted to drop out of college. Now, I basically ended up talking with my dad about this and my mom as well. My dad was basically like, Steve, you can drop out if your businesses are taking off. And also my mom ended up telling me as well that you should just go through the pain and you'll be able to find something out of it as well. Do not give up so quickly and easily. Now, you have to also remember when it comes to college, as far as African or immigrant, college is very, very important. Now, as far as being an entrepreneur, I'm not saying you need a degree to become a business person or anything like that. I still do believe you can be able to go become a great person without a college degree. Now, matter of fact, the college degree that I have, I wouldn't even call it a college degree. I just called it a good slap piece of paper that basically said I went through college. But I went through college in a way that was not traditional, because after that first like 3 months, just like a semester, I moved towards back home in this basement, and I started taking college online instead. Now, before I moved to that part yet, you remember Polycap and Kevin, Power Moves? So I found out like this guy started waking up at 4 in the morning. Now, this is part of my life where I basically had spiritual growth in my life, and that ended up leading to a lot of different things that led to my life where I am now. So I started trying to get up at 4 in the morning as well. Like, these guys were waking up 4 in the morning every freaking day of the week. And I was like, I want to do the same thing, but it's very hard for you to build those habits like that. So it ended up taking maybe about 2 months until I started waking up at 4 in the morning as well. I went from waking up 10 in the morning, 9 in the morning, or waking up when I felt like waking up, to waking up at 4 in the morning.
4 a.m.? 4 a.m. Let's get it. Let's get it. Okay, guys. It is 4 a.m. right now, usual time to wake up during the week for me.
And to this day, over 3 years later, I've been waking up at 4 in the morning. So that's why you're going to have friends like Kevin and Polycap who are going to be really good influences to push you forward. Now, that ended up leading me towards making my circle of friends even smaller. Now, this part's are very crucial because we just came a little bit from the business side and entrepreneur and programming, and now we're talking about life, right? And this whole transformation was like, you know how they tell you like, you know, the circle you're with is who you end up becoming, and that's so true. When I started really surrounding myself with people like Kevin and Polycap, I really started pushing myself even further. And this is where basically I started moving towards me staying in my parents' basement. So basically, every day of the week from Monday to Friday. I'm getting up at 4 in the morning, and Saturday's the Sabbath for me, so I get to rest on that day. Sunday, I'm back up at least latest at 8 in the morning. So, or 9 sometimes if I really end up staying way later, right? So my bedtime is basically like 8:30, 9 o'clock is when I'm wiling, and then basically I wake up at 4 in the morning, right? If I go past 9:30, like, dude, I'm going crazy on that week. But sometimes during the weekends, like on Fridays or Saturdays, I can't really make it past 12 o'clock. Like the latest I've ever slept, like in the last 4 years of my life right now, or 3 years and a half, was basically like 4 in the morning. And that's when I went to basically in Kenya, and I was with my friends, and we ended up going out. So that was pretty wild for me. So yeah, I'm a little bit of an old dude when it comes to bedtime. But back to the story here, right? So I ended up really having a transformation in my life. And this is where the hustle really began. So I started doing daily goals, and daily goals has become such a pivotal thing to me in my life. I went from basically doing whatever I felt like doing, and in college, like towards when I started having more spiritual transformation, really started changing my life, I started writing down daily goals. It went from 4 daily goals to 6 daily goals to 7 daily goals to 10 to 15 to all the way up to 40 daily goals sometimes. Now you have to keep in mind on this, I'm not writing a daily goal that's like design website. It's not like something that's vague. I'm very specific on what I'm doing from morning until the afternoon. Like for example, I have a section where I'm saying I'm doing Bible study. I have a section where I'm saying I'm working out. I have a section where I'm saying I'm gonna be stretching, like I do my midday stretches. I haven't done it today because I wanted to record this video, but basically I'm gonna do it after this. I do like a midday stretch. I talk about like, hey, if I'm working on a website, what sections, why, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm very specific on my daily goals. And I've been able to go from small goals to up to some crazy days when I do like 65 daily goals. Like those are the days when I'm really wilding out. Like basically like recently, last Thursday, I worked from 4 in the morning all the way until 1 a.m. It was almost like basically over 20 hours of hustle that day. 21 hours. I'm not really good at quick math.
As it is officially 19-hour grind day. It's done from 4 a.m. to freaking 11. It's 11:50 right now, but I clocked it off at 11:30. I don't count that 30 minutes in there. I know it's 19 and a half, but there was a few breaks here and there, walking around, getting food, you know. I don't count that as a grind. So basically it was very exciting, it was very thrilling. I'm able to put in 19 hours on Fridays to finish strong. I'm able to put in freaking 80 hours, 90 hours a week without feeling like I'm working, because this is what I love. It's the journey, it's the process that I enjoy way more than anything else. And that's the mindset you have to be in as an entrepreneur. And I just enjoyed this very much. But basically I ended up hustling a lot. So it really does depend on what my level of push and fire is for that day. But definitely I do go off some days on the hustle. But on average, I'm doing about 80 to 90 hours a week on the hustle. But I basically try to keep it at 80, 85, okay? So that's basically my transformation of my life. And now we're going to talk about where I'm at right now. So to catch you guys up on all the different businesses I've talked about, Vizzle headquarters is not really there anymore. Those companies are not there anymore. African Agriculture, Mambo Audio, and etc. But things build up. So I ended up meeting my friend called, what's his name? Oh my gosh. I ended up meeting my friend Joshua. I can't believe I was about to forget his name. My Joshua is my business partner on a company called ERlog Tech. ERlog Tech is basically what African Digital Agriculture was supposed to be and what Aggregate was supposed to be, and now it's been given birth to through a reincarnation of called ERlog Tech, or the ERlog box. And I'm just gonna pop up a video here and explain everything through that.
So much innovation happening in my own country, and I have no idea. Now, I see this ERlog box mobile server thing, and all I'm thinking is, how do I connect to the rest of the world without connecting to the internet?
Hi, my name is Steve Orr. I'm one of the co-founders of ERlog Box. Our company has built an inexpensive mobile server that's able to take internet information and provide it offline. Isn't that just incredible? Because think about how much the internet has been able to impact us. We're currently right now, unfortunately, there are billions of people who do not have access to the internet. And even in countries where they do have access to the internet, in developing countries, it's very expensive for them to even be able to watch a free video like on Khan Academy. Our company has been able to solve that problem, and we're looking to bridge the gap of being able to empower the next digital generation in all the different countries around the world. We've already built the box itself, we've already tested in the market, and many people have already been impacted. For example, in South Sudan, where one of our partners was able to take one of our smaller versions of the boxes and was able to impact 400 people in less than just the cost of $200. Isn't that just incredible? And the information can be used over and over and over again. It's not just one time. So help us to be able to spread the internet offline to millions of users around the world. So as you can tell, we work through hardware and software as well. And we've been able to hustle for 2 years without really making money from this business. And I'm even actually getting ready to travel to Tanzania in like 2 weeks. So I'm gonna be doing the first official, this whole hustle entrepreneurship thing, vlog on that episode as well. So it's about being able to get to that level and point. My other business partner, Joshua, as well, he's in Cameroon right now doing another launch for the ERlog box. So really things are starting to spread and grow on the ERlog box end. Now, you know how I talk about Mambo Audio and stuff like that? Well, Mambo Audio ended up coming back as Sound Moja. So what's up, guys? Today's actually a vlog interludes episode. I'm talking about a platform we just launched. This is actually one of the songs in the background. I'm sure you can hear that. I haven't talked about a lot about Sound Moja because it's still being under development. We have like a 1-year development that we're doing right now, programming wise, and like developing the mobile application and a lot of different things that are happening. And I'm really getting excited to launch it in like 2020. That's kind of the year and time we want to do this launch. And also at the same time, as you can see, Entrepreneur Revolt is really getting to a point where it's becoming pivotal as well. And I'm starting to grow different things there as well. Now, I do other things on the side, on the low, that I'm going to be launching also towards a little bit more towards in 2020. And you're going to find out more about other different hustles that I've been doing behind the scenes other than ERlog Box and Sound Moja, as those two being the main 2 companies that I'm currently working on. Now, Sound Moja is doing pretty well. We have days where we get up to 400 users from like Kenya, South Africa, and stuff like that using the application. And we really want to grow that into getting millions of users active monthly. So we do have a strong vision for that, for as far as the music industry in Africa. And for ERlog Tech, it's really a company. ERlog Tech is the holding, and the ERlog Box is really the first phase. ERlog Box is really that social tech company, that social enterprise. And we have other different projects that we're going to be working on, target towards the African demographic. Now, I know there's a lot of different things that I missed out on this video, and a lot of those different things I really didn't talk about. But that's basically the best summary I can give you about myself. Now, this is the next part I want to leave you with. What is the whole point of Entrepreneur Revolt? What is my personal mission? What are my goals as this entrepreneur called Steve Aura Nyachai? In summary, to be quite honest, I just want to empower. Okay, like I really just want to empower other people. The whole point of me making videos like this, like guys, you do understand I make $0. I couldn't, some people have asked me like, Steve, why don't you monetize your YouTube videos? I'm like, I'm never ever gonna monetize my videos. I'm never ever gonna charge you $1 for anything that I ever really do launch. And I'm gonna put it full length out there in full transparency. The only way I'm gonna be really getting any monetary value out of this is basically if I get invited to speak to an event, I'm gonna ask the event hosters if they're able to basically pay for the expenses for me to be able to get to that event. Other than that, that's the only thing I'm looking monetary wise. But the events themselves, I really want to be able to just provide information and knowledge to other people. That's why I made this introductory video about myself, and that's why I went so much in depth from where I was to where I am and now towards where I'm headed. And that's really what I'm trying to do with Entrepreneur Revolt. I'm trying to really empower, especially the African demographic. I really want to empower African youths to be able to learn how to build businesses, to be able to pursue their goals as well, not just entrepreneur. It's going to be mostly entrepreneurial because that's who I am and that's what I do and that's where I can speak from. But I hope from that speaking perspective point of what I'm passionate about, you can be able to find what you're passionate about and also pursue that as well, full speed ahead. So now, what is my goal here? So there's two different things you want to look at this. I am not a saint. I am not this, I'm not trying to make myself sound like this person who's like super no sin. There's no, like no blemish on him. There's a lot of different taints about me, and there's a lot of selfish reasons why I'm also doing this as well. The selfless reason is basically I want to empower you. The selfish reason, I want to leave a legacy. So I do want you to like my videos. I do want you to leave comments. I do mostly especially want you to take knowledge and wisdom from all these videos that I upload and all this content I'm going to be doing and all these awesome things. I'm about to be launching a community for us to interact with. It's about to be an awesome things that are coming in 2020, so you can be able to learn a lot of different things and build businesses and go impact your friends, your family members, and maybe hopefully tell them a little bit about me. Like, that's the whole selfish part that I have here, and I just want to put it out there. I'm going for legacy. That is the currency that I'm really pursuing for Entrepreneur Revolt. And I'm not here trying to say I need to hit like billions and billions of people, but just one person. Impacting one person is incredible. And I've been able to have over like 100 DMs that have been sent to me over like this last few short span of like the last year. I've had hundreds of DMs of people saying like, dude, this video has impacted me. Oh, your content has really been helping me. And that's just beyond a huge blessing because, as I mentioned before, just me starting recording this video when I was in the basement. But I don't need the beats for $300, right? And a lot of you are not willing to downsize for the long run. And I'm going to show you guys for a second right here. Let me quickly take the camera from the... Okay, you see this? Do you see this? I did not even have a freaking tripod, okay? I just basically duct taped this. And look at that. I get my own freaking studio lights. Isn't that boss? And then I put the freaking camera in there and it's able to freaking record the way I've been recording. And that is what I'm talking about. You have to learn how to do the broke solutions. Steve Bora, and peace out, and make sure to watch more videos. And this has been Rant Motivational Talk. Peace! And having like 1 or 2 views towards having people commenting how the videos impacted them, it made me to think about like, how can we take this to the next level? And that's what I'm really looking at, and that's what I'm looking forward towards as well. Okay, so now here we are, we're caught up, at least we're caught up, and that's basically a summary of who I am, where I'm from, and where I'm headed. And when it comes to business wise, I'm not really pursuing money because for me personally, I'm very basic. Like, if you really look at me at the core, I love building businesses. I love doing that stuff. And I'm just happen to be, I'm very passionate about something that happens to make money. And money is not my main primary goal. If you really ask me the question of how much I really want to make a year, I really personally feel like I'm almost completely about to surpass that goal on how much I want to make a year on my yearly income. Because I'm very big. I just want to be able to get like a middle class house. Like, I'm not trying to get like a huge mansion. I'm not trying to get like 4 Lambos and like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. I love fast cars. I love sports cars, but that's not really my main priority goal. My main priority goal, to be quite honest, from like a family perspective, I just want to be able to get a good house and, get married and like have kids, like grow old, become a grandfather, and like basically like provide for my family and like for my kids, because that's what I'm really also very much passionate about, more than really when it comes to the business stuff as well, right? So that's kind of where my primary goal is. It goes from God to family to friends and like to this as well. That's kind of like my priority list in life, right? So for me, on the other thing and the other aspect and other different things as well, I really do want to excel and do even greater and better. I've faced a lot of different challenges over the years, and I really want to start documenting those challenges and documenting the comeback stories from those challenges, and really being able to share more in depth and provide you guys more value, and then also being able to have fun with it. That's why I'm moving towards more vlog style and not just this stationary, right? And more editing, more creativity as well. But still, I'm not gonna be scripting my videos. I'm not gonna be sitting down for like an hour trying to think about what am I gonna talk about today. I just want it to flow. I want it to come out natural. I want to document and not focus so much on the creating. But I'm gonna be documenting while now trying to also include more creativity in there, right? That's kind of where I'm moving towards more. Having a little bit more of a balance, but mostly still gonna be mostly documenting. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I know it's such a long, lengthy video. We're talking about 40 minutes here, okay? So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna do another YouTube introductory video later. It's gonna be shorter than this, but this is the one that's gonna be there for now. I'll probably do another one later in like 6 months or 7 months or 5 months or something like that, okay? Thank you very much for watching the video. A peace to the out, and you're the real MVP if you watched this until the end. Thank you very much. And now, the chapter begins from the next video.